Question number 9, Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister of Broadcasting, will she join with me to acknowledge the work of all media in New Zealand, which is so important in times of natural disaster and crisis? And if so, will the Minister consider increasing our public broadcaster Radio New Zealand's funding in Budget 2017?
The Honourable Bill English.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I do agree with the member. The media have done an excellent job of the vital task of keeping the public informed about what they should do at a time of stress. In terms of Radio New Zealand's funding, well, of course, Radio New Zealand, uniquely among media organisations, has a guarantee of revenue for future years, something that many media organisations would regard with envy. However, any bids will be considered in due course as part of the usual budget process.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Gareth Hughes.
How long does the Minister think our only public broadcaster, Radio New Zealand, can continue to provide the high standard of broadcasting we've seen in the last few days when its funding hasn't been increased for 8 years?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, clearly up to now they've done a very good job. I haven't seen any noticeable deterioration, in fact some improvements in the broadcasting of Radio New Zealand on the guaranteed funding that they have, which, as I said, makes them unique among media organisations, a number of whom are fighting simply to stay alive.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Gareth Hughes.
Given the Minister's comments around the ability to lodge a budget bid, is the Minister concerned Radio New Zealand didn't put in a funding bid in the last budget round, with the Chairman describing it as, quote, pointless beating your head against a brick wall of reality?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, no, I wasn't disappointed at all. I know for public organisations it can be a sort of an automatic reflex that they bid for more money just because they had some last year and think they can do more good next year. In the case of RNZ, though, over a number of years they have changed with the times. I'm particularly complimentary of their website development. They see themselves now less as an owner of a broadcasting system and more as a content provider, and I'm sure wider media see benefit in broadcasting content of the quality of RNZ's.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Gareth Hughes.
Given the excellent work of Radio New Zealand that it's done in the last few days, despite a real-term funding cut of $4 million since this government came to office, would the Minister encourage Radio New Zealand to put in a budget bid for the next funding round?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, not on that basis. I mean, we don't give public organisations more money just because they've demonstrated their ability to use the money they have. If there's a greater need, then for the long-term sustainability of the organisation, then I'm sure the board and executive of Radio New Zealand will see merit in putting up a bid. Equally, we also try not to give money to organisations where their services habitually fail, because that would also be rewarding organisations rather than just applying money to obvious need.